This movie will cover the recommended preferences and workspace settings for working with After Effects as a beginning user. To start, in the upper right-hand corner of the interface, you'll see the word Workspace, followed by a drop-down menu. This drop-down menu lists various configurations of Windows. The one that I find easiest to use is the one called Standard. Choose this one, and then click the drop-down menu again and choose that last option, Reset Standard. Discarding changes to the standard workspace, reset standard to the factory default, which is what we want. Now, changes to the workspace are not undoable in steps, so if you change your workspace more than you intended to, go to that Reset option at the bottom here in order to fix it to the original settings. Next, let's set our preferences. On a Mac, these are located in the After Effects menu, but on a PC, they're located in the Edit menu. Go to Preferences General first, and we can get to the rest of the preferences from there. In the General Preferences, I'd only recommend that you change 3 things, if anything. The levels of undo determines how many times you can go to Edit Undo, or Control-Z if you're on a PC, or Command-Z if you're on a Mac, in order to undo your steps. Choose a higher number here if your computer is fast and or you make a lot of mistakes, like I do. If you're working with a slower computer, use a lower number of undos and turn off the checkbox next to Synchronize time of all related items. This preference keeps compositions and pre-compositions, which are compositions in compositions, also known as timelines within timelines, at the same timecode. Now, this can take a decent amount of computer processing power, so if you're working with a slower computer, that's why I would recommend that you turn this option off. If you're planning to edit videos within After Effects, I'd recommend turning off the Create Layers at Composition Start Time option. Otherwise, placing new footage into a composition will make it always start at the beginning of that comp, rather than at the timecode where you dragged it. At the top of the Preferences box, go to the drop-down menu and change the word General to Previews. Change the adaptive resolution limit to 1/4 or 1/8, smaller if your computer is slower. Keep OpenGL off, unless you're working with a very high-end computer, and increase your audio preview time to at least 30 seconds. So 30:00 is 30 seconds. Next, we go to Display, up at the top. Choose all keyframes. This way you can always see where your layers are moving and the paths that they take to get from here to there. For our purposes in Quick Start, go to the Import section and set the still footage duration to length of composition. Set sequence footage to 29.97 frames per second, and the last box default drag import as to comp. In the Output section, turn off that last box, Use Default File Name and Folder. This way, we'll actually have to tell the program where to save files to when we set a render. Otherwise, the render will go to the last place that a render was saved. Next, we jump to the User Interface Colors section. You can use cycle mask colors in order for your masks created with the mask tool to cycle between different colors, so you can differentiate them. And you can adjust your user interface brightness to suit your vision. You can have the user interface brightness affect label colors as well. After that, we go to Autosave. Why does this default to off? I have no idea. It's one of the most useful features of After Effects ever since After Effects version 7. I automatically save projects every 2 minutes with a maximum of 10 project versions. Once the 10 are reached, After Effects starts writing over the oldest project version. This is great if your computer is prone to crashing, or if you're a control freak like me. So those are our workspace and preferences. You can learn more about setting up a project in the movie about project and composition settings.